It is Reaction Monday on this Monday. Welcome back in. We start a brand new week here on the program. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. No Kalen DeBoer press conference today. Bama actually won't be back on the practice field till Thursday. 4 days off by Kalen DeBoer. DeBoer's actually speaking in Birmingham today at the Quarterback Club. We'll probably have some clips from him a little bit later in the show. 1:30 today, we'll hear from Hugh Freeze. Auburn, huge game coming up in the SEC as they go to Norman, Oklahoma for the first time ever. But we start out with Alabama, big win over the weekend in Tuscaloosa. Not that any of us predicted that Alabama would not take out Wisconsin. Conrad doesn't have to wear makeup. He doesn't have to burn his Bray Hubbard jersey. All is well with a big 38-14 win.
How apparent was that you were not going to have your face painted like a badger? How far into that game when you looked at Wisconsin?
Maybe 10 minutes in the game.
Maybe.
It was pretty apparent which way it was going to go, but I was impressed when I was getting down into Tuscaloosa. There were a ton of Badger fans that had come to Tuscaloosa, probably similar to last year, right? We had a bunch of people that never been to Camp Randall before. When am I going to have another opportunity to do so? And so it was good to see a lot of Wisconsin fans take advantage of that opportunity. They just probably left a little soured, but.
So you mean to tell me when Alabama failed on 4th and 2 from the 46-yard line, you didn't get a little bit nervous?
Well, so that was one of those situations where when that happened, we're in the press box and a lot of people going, don't know if I would have gone for that one there, but you immediately had a quick turnaround, and I think that was the first interception was right after that. You've had a good feeling that, okay, this is going to be all right, but that would have set up, right? You go for it on 4th down, turn it over, Wisconsin gets a quick score, and that would be, I guess, the setup for an upset potentially. But no, Alabama came out with their hair on fire, and instead of burning a Bray Hubbard jersey, I'm going to have to put it into a nice glass frame.
Yeah, 2 interceptions.
Because he was fantastic on Saturday.
It was a big day. Maybe that Florida State game kind of lit a fire underneath him.
Well, I think we figured out the remedy for right now. All right, I can't be in the same state that Alabama plays in when they're on the road. I can't be in the stands at Bryant-Denny. But when I'm in the press box, 2-0. So maybe that's the magic cure for Alabama.
When I looked at Wisconsin, this is not taking anything away from Alabama, but the way that Wisconsin is built, directly the opposite of how Alabama's built. And anything that Alabama did short of taking money on the side and playing for Wisconsin, that was going to end up as a W.
The only thing that anybody, if you want to start nitpicking about Alabama, you're going to have to run the ball against Georgia.
Yeah, couldn't run the football.
And once again, you've only got 72 yards of rushing. Now, if Ty Simpson plays out of his mind like he has the last 2 games, because that's been extremely impressive, then, again, we got plenty of time to talk about Georgia-Alabama since both teams have the bye week. But Alabama took care of business. Ty Simpson, the last 2 weeks, he's 41 of 46 for 608 yards and 7 passing touchdown, 0 turnovers.
He looks so good. He looks so good running that offense and on the run and the precision of his passes. And you can tell. And dude is in the zone right now. He's very comfortable what he's doing. And then when you get opportunities to throw to a healthy Ryan Williams, and Ryan Williams can do what Ryan Williams does, one-on-one, and making people look foolish.
Who's this Ryan Williams you speak of?
He was buried on the depth chart,
Pat,
I think.
this is a kid who, it's a great story.
He's 18, right?
He was 15 years old when he graduated high school. And he decided, you know what? I like this foosball thing. And he went out there and he tried out, much like a Rudy or like the character of Mark Wahlberg in Invincible when he tried out for the Eagles and Dick Vermeil. One of those type of stories. And the kid has just he's turned heads.
Warms your heart to see a kid like that have success.
Yeah.
Well, prior to the Alabama-Wisconsin game, Damian Harris, former Alabama running back, he visited with us in Atlanta during SEC Media Days. Really nice guy. He is a contributor to CBS Sports Network, and he had this to say prior to the Alabama-Wisconsin game about Ryan Williams.
Where the hell is Ryan Williams? Do we need to put out a missing person report? Do we need to alert the authorities? Because my brother, I'm going to go back to the Florida State game because that's the only tape I got of you so far. To me, he looked out of shape. He looked bigger than what he needs to be. He didn't look confident. He hasn't had a 100-yard game since Georgia. He hasn't had a touchdown since, what was it, Mercer last year? What I don't like is the fact that I don't know what's up with Ryan Williams. I don't know if he's going to come back, and are we going to get the version of him that we saw at the beginning of last year, or is he going to come back and then be the same Ryan Williams we saw against Florida State? Because at that point, it's not worth coming back. I hate to be so blunt and honest, but you were a non-factor, my brother, against Florida State. You are a non-factor. So if you are going to come back and continue to be a non-factor, well, then you might as well take the Jamar Chase route. Just sit out and then wait to go pro. I mean, I hate that y'all got me worked up here because I promise you I didn't want to, but I missed a week after the Alabama-Florida State game. So I got a lot of pent-up stuff on my chest. I'm not going to let it all out, but I am going to say, Ryan Williams, brother, you got a great smile. You do a lot of things well. We need to see you deliver on the football field more than we see you deliver on TikTok and on Instagram and on Snapchat. Get on the field, be the leader, be the best player on the football field, not just for Alabama today, on the football field. End of quote.
There you go. That was prior to Alabama, Wisconsin. Not really sure if Ryan Williams heard those comments or watched those comments, but he did show up, 5 receptions on 6 targets. He had 109 yards after the catch. You just heard Damian Harris talking about the fact that it had been, 10 games?
Georgia last year is the last time he had 100 receiving yards.
Yeah, so he had a big afternoon receiving the football. He had 5 first downs gained on receptions. So that's the kind of game that we expect from Ryan Williams. He finally did show up, so I'm not sure if Damian Harris had a rebuttal after that performance on Saturday, but Ryan Williams showed up, and the rest of the offense did too.
Yeah, and you're going to have Ryan Williams in 2 weeks when you go to Athens. You play that defense. That's going to look much different, but something that you mentioned, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about, but running the football. They're going to have to be able to do that, to have guys like Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard against a Georgia-type defense that you got to respect the run. And I'm sure that will be a point of emphasis for Kalen DeBoer and for Ryan Grubb.
Well, the good thing is you should have Jam Miller back, and hopefully that'll help shore some things up, but got to get that push up front from the line as well.
So Ryan Williams, after the game, media had an opportunity to catch up with him, and he had an interesting take on talking about bringing his stuffed animal into the stadium.
I mean, yeah, I got it going into my freshman year. You know, it's just something that I had, and the training staff, made it look all stylish and stuff with the number 2 and the spats and all that stuff. So it's nothing too serious. It's just
is it a comfort thing or what?
Nah, it's just something that I got from a friend. Yeah.
So the training staff was helping decorate it.
It's something he got from a friend.
But the training staff
helped him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jazz it up, bedazzle it, right? That's what he's talking
When
about.
I was a kid and I had to have a minor surgery, they brought in I think it was a teddy bear that had the bandages on it. His comfort.
I'll tell you what.
I was 5.
If you're going to go for 5 catches for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns, let that guy bring as many stuffed animals into the stadium as he wants to. Don't think you're going to hear many complaints about that this week because he showed up.
Wear a onesie.
Yeah. Whatever you need to do.
But if he doesn't,
he
gets 20 yards receiving and drops multiple passes.
Correct, then don't bring it. I don't care if that's a double standard. It's a double standard.
Okay. Alabama's defense did show up. Not that you were going up against one of the best offenses in college football in Wisconsin, but 4 sacks, that was huge. That was the most sacks by a Tide defense since last year's South Carolina game. So it'd been a minute since they got that many sacks. Wisconsin only had 209 yards of offense, and most of those yards came on those last couple drives. It was cleanup time in the game. Luke Fickell now 0-7 at Wisconsin against ranked opponents. They're not happy. Watched a couple of podcasts late Saturday night, and they are already putting together a list of potential replacements.
Yeah, they need to be. Yeah, that 0-7 stat, that's going to get worse before it gets better. He's got more to add to that this year.
Yeah, they're not a very good football team.
They're not.
Unfortunately, but it is what it is. Bray Hubbard had a big day, leading receiver for Wisconsin, based on the stats. So
that is true. Very true. So as I mentioned, Bama's off until Thursday. So
the good news for Wisconsin, the next opponent you play, maybe playing a team like Alabama, that helps. Who do they play?
Wisconsin plays next?
Big Ten play. They've got Maryland.
Maryland, yeah.
They're a 7.5 point favorite.
I was about to say, you got
Maryland.
to be able to beat Maryland.
That's at Camp Randall.
Well, Maryland's guys will look a lot slower.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, that was one thing I did read after the game was a lot of the comments about the speed of the Southeastern Conference athletes as opposed to what you see normally in the Big Ten.
Well, yeah, Wisconsin looks kind of like Iowa, right? They have still that same mentality of how Big Ten football is played, whereas you've seen the Ohio States, Penn States of the world kind of blow past that.
I mean, it's great having, 320-pound offensive linemen, but if you got a quarterback that can't throw it and you don't have any wide receivers that can catch it, it doesn't really matter.
No, it does not.
And you got to stop the other team from scoring.
Yeah, that's a problem going up against some of the speed on the outside of the SEC. Auburn defeats South Alabama 31-15. The Auburn offense, 5 scoring drives and just 2 punts. So they were efficient. Didn't have the ball a lot in the second half.
No. To me, it looked like a game that halfway going through the motions, you had receivers that were dropping really good passes, I thought, from Jackson Arnold. The defense, I know that Hugh Freeze made the comment at halftime, but kind of sleepwalking a little bit at times. But then you had young guys that were made plays like a Jared Smith in the second half when they had to have it, and you have the big sack, and you're able to get the turnover and hold South Alabama out of the end zone. I give credit to South Alabama, but it did look like Auburn, and they played a lot of young players, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Looked like Auburn. They're going to have a much tougher time, and they'll have to be a lot better in Norman, Oklahoma than they were Saturday.
Yeah, it was just one of those games. You could tell you're just trying to get out of there.
Yep. And playing a frustrating offense.
Just get the win. Just, move on. But Auburn was efficient in the red zone 4 times. They scored 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal. The Tigers are now 9 for 9 in the red zone this year. That's huge.
It's excellent.
Get inside the 20.
Point of emphasis in the offseason.
Yep, get points. But as you mentioned, Landrum, the next 3 opponents on Saturday, the next 3 opponents for Auburn threw for 282, 360, and 304 yards. So they better get ready for the secondary.
Yep.
Because it's about to get real the next 2 weeks.
Yes, it is.
And then actually the next 4 weeks, because then you got the bye week, then you got Georgia. So,
well, to be fair, you're getting the SEC, but yeah, especially the next 3 weeks. But it's going to look a lot different. You will have teams that match up more, and as far as skill position wise, you're going to have better athletes than you've seen to this point.
Yeah, and what looks like the easier part of the conference schedule in the back half, right? You still got to go with Bo Pribula, Taylon Green, Diego Pavia, all guys that have looked really, really good.
Yeah, they certainly have.
To start the season. So, yeah, it's going to get a little tougher for Auburn here. But I will say, I think the one thing, if you're an Auburn fan, maybe you're not super happy with the performance on Saturday, that is a game that 2 or 3 years ago, you might lose that game.
Yeah.
And you still won by 16. So I think that just clearly shows a lot of progress. And you're 3-0.
There's some injuries to tell you about. Eric Singleton Jr., hip pointer. Cornerback Jay Crawford, banged knees. Defensive end Amaris Williams, separated shoulder. Singleton did have 6 catches for 65 yards, but he sustained a hip pointer in the second half. All 3 of those players I just mentioned did not return to action. Auburn also had a number of players that they held out for precautionary. Damari Alston, safety Champ Anthony, wide receiver Malcolm Simmons, Rayshawn Pleasant. All could have played according to Hugh Freeze, but did not, just to be safe. So we will get an injury update from Hugh Freeze coming up later in the program. He will meet with the media at 1:30 as we kind of move ahead now to the Oklahoma Sooners, as the Auburn Tigers will be heading to Norman, Oklahoma on Saturday. That is the ABC 2:30 game this week. So that should be a really good one. Each and every Monday on this program, Molly watches a lot of ball, a lot of things over the weekend, and she gives us her hot and cold.
So my hot actually doesn't really have anything to do with college football this weekend. My hot goes out to Terrence Crawford, actually. And I know I don't like fighting. I've made that very clear. I don't watch a lot of fights. But Terrence Crawford made history on Saturday night in Las Vegas because he defeated Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision, and he became the undisputed middleweight champion of the entire world. You might be asking yourself, why Terrence Crawford?
Why Terrence Crawford?
Well, Terrence Crawford is from Omaha, Nebraska, and he is a huge Cornhusker. And if you watched during his walkout, his people were all decked out in Nebraska gear. I even think Matt Rule was there watching him and supporting him. And he does a lot for the athletic department. So I wanted to give a shout out to Terrence Crawford, who is now, and I think he's never lost ever. I think he's 41 or 42-0 in his entire wrestling career, which is pretty unreal with 31 knockouts. So
Go Big Red.
And I'm saying that as someone, like, I've made it very well known on this show that I do not like fights. So shout out to Terrence Crawford. Now, my cold. This was a pretty easy one for me. It goes out to my Big Ten brethren, the UCLA Bruins, especially to Nico and Deshaun Foster, because the Foster era out in California is officially over after just 15 games with an 0-3 start to start their 25 season. And they have now lost to not one but two Mountain West opponents. And when you look at the situation, the kind of swap that Aguilar and Nico had between UCLA and Tennessee, UCLA kind of left Aguilar in a little bit of a pickle, and Deshaun Foster told Aguilar, we're going to bring in Nico. We don't really want you. And Josh Heupel said, well, Aguilar, we want you. And you look at the difference between these two quarterbacks and their situations, I would say Aguilar won the battle in that one. So my freezing cold goes out to the UCLA Bruins.
Woof.
It's rough out there. Well, the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jock. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com.
Well, there wasn't any drama in the state of Alabama when it comes to Alabama and Auburn games, but man, the SEC docket had plenty of it. We'll get into what happened on Saturday night, what it means moving forward for the SEC race for Atlanta, all that straight ahead on this Reaction Monday on Jocks. Welcome back in. It's Reaction Monday on this Monday. Later on, we will talk to Nathan King from Auburn Undercover at 11 o'clock. Get his thoughts on the Auburn Tigers as they get ready to head to Norman, Oklahoma. We'll hear from Hugh Freeze at 1:30. Coach Bill Clark will be along at 1 o'clock. But we got plenty of time to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. But let's go to Rocky Top because that was the big one. We all wanted to see the barometer. Georgia this good, Georgia in trouble because offensively they haven't been able to move the ball and get a lot of points. Tennessee, are they for real? Joey Aguilar taking over for Nico. A lot to be decided, and it came down to the very end. This is the way it sounded on the Georgia Radio Network in regulation and overtime.
43-yard try to take the lead here with 7 seconds to go. Kicking to the right. Gilbert will try to put Tennessee ahead. The kick is away, and the kick is no good. He missed it. Oh my goodness. What the heck happened there? Gilbert missed it. Tennessee fans behind the uprights were cheering, and then they weren't. Dogs are alive with 3 seconds to go. 38-38, still the score. How did he miss that? His first miss of the season. McCray is the running back out of the shotgun. Hand it to McCray. There he goes. He drives in. They grab him from behind. Did he get the ball over? Close to the goal line. No signal yet. They say no. It looked like in the huddle he was trying to extend the ball over the goal line, but there's no signal from the officials.
After further review, it is a touchdown.
Oh, yeah! Steve Marlowe with the winning call. Rocky Top crumbles. Dogs are winners. 44-41.
How brutal if you're a Tennessee fan and in that stadium where you have a good idea. All right, they probably punch it in on the next play, but now we have to wait. And then the dramatic. Oh.
Rocky Top crumbles. Not as good as we just stomped on them with a hobnail boot.
No.
But, still, it was it was good. Georgia seals the victory in overtime.
I was reminded how much Tennessee hate there is around these parts.
Yeah. Bulldogs ran the ball 55 times for 198 yards. Gunnar Stockton put up 304 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 38. But, man, that throw he had.
Oh, on fourth down at the end of the game?
Well,
that was
That's
just
big boy stuff.
unbelievable.
Think about 2 of his best throws, maybe his 2 best throws in the game. First play where he hits his receiver in stride and they try to take advantage of that young matchup with the young Tennessee defensive back. And then that play on 4th and 6. That's pushing all the chips in the middle of the table and saying, this is for the ball game. We're going to count on our guy to make the throw, and I got to make the catch. Wow.
Gunnar heard Pat bringing up all those nasty stats about him after the Austin Peay game, and he responded.
He sure did, in a big way. Good for him. Joey Aguilar finished with 371 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions on the afternoon. He had 9 completions of 15 or more yards.
No, Aguilar looked really good.
He looked really good.
Minus
Nico
the
could never.
interceptions.
True.
Yeah. Bulldogs now have won 9 in the series. Josh Heupel is 0-5 versus Kirby. So I guess now the memes. Remember the old memes of like Nick Saban holding a baby Kirby?
Oh, yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
Kirby with
Now
Heupel.
it's Daddy Kirby holding a baby Heupel.
Still, if you're a Tennessee fan, you got to be scratching your head. How did that happen? We were getting ready, Pat, for the pregame show with UAB, and it was 38-30 Tennessee. And I thought, okay, well.
Looked pretty good, didn't it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, when it was
Tennessee's going to get them one.
When it was 21-7 in the first quarter, you're going, all right, how bad are they going to beat Georgia? Not
Right.
are they going to win the game? It's, are they going to
No.
beat Georgia by 30 or 40 points?
See, I was the opposite. I knew that Georgia was going to come back, but did Georgia have enough on the offensive side to match those scores and to eventually win the game? And, well, they did.
They sure did. So Georgia looked very impressive. So now you kind of sit back and see how this Georgia-Alabama rivalry, and we'll talk a lot more about it again next week as both teams kind of rest and get ready for action next week. Meanwhile, up in South Bend, Indiana, the Texas A&M Aggies took on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Man, what a game. This is the way it sounded with the game on the line on the Texas A&M radio network.
This is the game. 4th and goal from the 11-yard line. Down 6, 40-34. Concepcion in motion from right to left. The shotgun snap, Marcel. Throws, end zone, caught! Touchdown! Nate Borkature! We're tied! An extra point to come! Wow! His first touchdown since September 3rd of 22 when he was at Nebraska and he caught it against North Dakota. His first as an Aggie ties the game. Now the crucial extra point with 13 seconds left. The extra point to break the tie. Aggies have a 41-40 lead.
There it is. That's the way it sounded, and a lot of upset people in South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Texas A&M.
Where were they broadcasting?
Well, I will tell you this. Because I go back and I listen, just being a radio geek, I go back and I listen to a lot of these broadcasts. And a lot of these press boxes now are in the corner of the end zone, and they don't have windows that open up. And so you can tell that the echo, Wisconsin's was the same way. I was listening to LePay, who was on our show last week. It's the exact same thing. I mean, it's because you're sitting 5 feet in front of glass and your voice is bouncing off, and that's why you get the echo. And you don't have, unless you got a good audio person that's got a crowd noise mic that's outside the window, that's why.
So another example of here's the drawings. Let's submit this. Let's not talk to any of the people that are going to be using this press box and what they may need.
No, as we all know, the radio portion of college football is one of the least important things for anybody. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just like the press box at Alabama. They're about to make it even smaller.
They're about to cut it in half almost.
Yeah, they're about to cut it in half because they want to put more suites.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's why it sounded the way it did. But once again, another color analyst jumping all over the play-by-play guy.
Yeah. There's a lot of scuttlebutt on social media for the tackle of the Texas A&M offensive lineman on the Notre Dame.
Yeah, people weren't happy about that.
And it is bad. And I know that if you're on the Texas A&M side, hey, you can see. But for a play like that, for that to buy Reed even more time and rolling out on that particular play, it would have been interesting to see had he not been tackled.
Mm-hmm.
What could have happened? But
surprised I didn't catch that one. That
one was pretty obvious. But when you mishandle a snap on an extra point like Tyler Buckner did, do you really deserve to win that football game?
Why do you hate Tyler Buckner?
Because he's terrible.
It was just good to see him that he was.
Yeah, don't know if we'll see him again this year, but it was great to be reminded that he is still a college athlete.
Do you think he needed his lacrosse stick? He's not used to using the.
No, he probably called Ryan
hands.
Williams and asked for that teddy bear to snuggle to bed on Saturday night because he was so distraught.
Marcus Freeman was asked after the game, "Did you have a conversation with Buckner? Like, what happened?" He goes, "No, I haven't talked to him."
He probably doesn't want to. He'd probably rip his head off because he botched that. But
Tyler, I got news for you. You're not coming back for a ninth season.
Yeah, exactly. But in all seriousness, is it not crazy that in that game? So we talk about how you just brought it up. What if they called the penalty on that holding there that it looked pretty obvious on the last play of the game? Does Texas A&M even win that game if they don't get the penalty on the kickoff that they return for a touchdown on that drive that would have then given them the ball back to Notre Dame with about, 2.5 minutes with a chance to go win the game? So that honestly may have been the play of the game for A&M was not getting a flag called on the last play and then getting that flag called and having their touchdown return.
Given the rest of the schedule, does this do it for Notre Dame? College football playoff?
They're done. They're out.
Yeah, they should be.
Now, why they're still ranked in the top 25?
That's bad.
I mean, once again, just proving the fact that this AP top 25 is just a complete joke.
So we effectively this weekend eliminated Notre Dame, Clemson, and any chance that Florida had of going to the college football playoff.
I would.
Or is Clemson still in there? And you give a little bit of wiggle room for Clemson.
I mean, I guess they lost 3 games last year and made it because they won the ACC. So possibly, but I mean, Miami looks really good. Florida State looks really good. Tech looks good. I don't think they're going to find themselves in the conference title game this year.
But there's still room for them. I mean, unlike Notre Dame, Notre Dame's got no help whatsoever.
South Carolina looks like they're out of the college football playoff conversation, just given their schedule. Even with Sellers coming back, their schedule is going to be brutal anyway.
They don't look great.
Nope.
If you had them there.
But Marcel Reed's going to be a problem in the SEC if he stays healthy.
Yep.
He threw for 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He had 7 carries, 37 yards. He has almost 900 passing yards already this year, 142 rushing yards, and 10 total touchdowns and only 1 interception in 3 games. He is the straw that stirs the drink for the Aggies. And through 2 games, Notre Dame has given up 68 points as a defense. It is the most points in the history of Notre Dame football that they have ever given up in 2 games.
Wish they still had Clark Lee.
Not a good sign for the Fighting Irish. Calls are coming in, and we're going to get to those calls, and we're going to get to your text messages. This is Reaction Monday. At the top of the hour, we'll go down to Auburn and talk to Nathan King. All that straight ahead on 3 Man Front. Welcome back in. It's Reaction Monday. On this Monday, Alabama beats Wisconsin. Auburn takes out South Alabama. Tied off. Players won't be back on the practice field until Thursday. Kalen DeBoer, no weekly press conference. We will hear from Hugh Freeze coming up at 1:30, but at 11, we will talk to Nathan King from Auburn Undercover, get his thoughts on the Oklahoma Sooners coming up this weekend. That will be a very interesting game. Meanwhile, the nighttime game, Landrum and I, we were on the air for the UAB broadcast as UAB knocks off Akron 31-28, was the game down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana between LSU and Florida. And you just can't say enough. Every time that Florida thinks that it was amazing they were still in the game with Lagway throwing 5 interceptions. Now, again, I understand the 5th one was really kind of, yes, it's in the stat book as his 5th interception, but now the other 4 can't make excuses for that one, but just bad, just bad. LSU only 316 yards of offense, and you win a Southeastern Conference game. That's pretty amazing. Garrett Nussmeier, very pedestrian again, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
He might be the slowest, best quarterback in college football.
Yeah.
Good way to describe it.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
So Brian Kelly, who is always good for a press conference, after the game, just take a listen to this exchange between him and Michael Cauble of WBRZ Television there in Baton Rouge.
What are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
So he's a seasoned head coach who makes $10 to $11 million a year. Answer the question. Quit belly aching. You have the 15th ranked offense in the SEC. There's only one other team in the conference that, statistically speaking, is worse than your offense. That's South Carolina. You're barely ahead of Arch Manning in Texas, who comes in at 14 in the SEC. And by the way, before he was done with that press conference, he also told Michael Cauble that was a stupid question.
Well, and he was also asked about why they can't run the football, and they would also be 15th in rushing offense in the conference, only ahead of South Carolina, who averages 110 rushing yards a game. LSU averages 110.7 rushing yards per game right there. So I think it's a very valid question. Why do you have the Heisman favorite or one of the Heisman favorites coming into the season, and yet you have the second worst offense in your conference?
And you're not going to make me feel better about it as an LSU fan when you point out, did you see that last run, which was 51 yards with 1:49 left in the game? And by the way, that makes up more than half of your total rushing yards for the entire game.
That's all you need, Landrum. That's all you need.
We didn't just start watching football down here yesterday.
LSU ran the ball for 2.9 yards per carry.
Yeah, the offense is a problem, and I think Brian Kelly knows with that schedule, they've got to shore a lot of things up, or they're not going to beat some of these teams that remain. It would scare me to death if I was Brian Kelly thinking about going to Alabama right now and playing that offense.
Well, one thing's for sure, Michael Cauble from WBRZ Television, he went on the air live at the 10 o'clock broadcast. This is what he had to say back to the station on air about his interaction with Brian Kelly.
You may have heard it. Brian Kelly thought I had stupid questions asking about the LSU offense. What was his assessment of the offense? What's going wrong with the LSU offense? But that's the reality of it. They ran for 96 yards, 51 of those coming on the last rush, the big one that really salted the game away. So LSU's running the ball for 45 yards a game. I get it. Florida has a stiff defense. Both of these teams have stiff defenses. But this LSU offense, we should expect more. I think it's unfair of him to just pass it off as a stupid question. This is a championship team where they expect to be. He told us to keep the receipts. Well, we're keeping the receipts. They need to bring it on both ends of the ball. And, that's my assessment. He can certainly have his. And I understand being thankful and happy to get a victory, but this is the SEC and tougher times are going to come. They're going to have to find an offense. That would be my reply to him if I was given one. So I think that this is a team that is finding its footing. I don't think you can glance past that, but I'm not sure that this is a top 10 team. I'm not sure this is a top 5 team with that offense. It's certainly a top 5 defense.
They punted on 7 of their 12 possessions, and they had 3. What is it? They went 3 and out 5 times. But everything's great.
Florida turned the ball over 5 times, and you won by 10. That's bad. There's no getting around that. And this is not an excuse for Brian Kelly, because he should never speak to a reporter that way, especially when they ask a legitimate question. The only reason you respond to the question that way is because you know it's a problem. You know that reporter's bringing up a valid point, and you don't have a good answer for it.
Yeah. So I also find it interesting because Brian Kelly was really quick to point out earlier last week, he had his little cute comment about there's no crying on the yacht. Remember that? Well, we're not crying for you, pal. You make a lot of money at LSU. Answer the question. I think you owe that to the LSU people that pay your salary. Answer the question. People are in there just trying to do their job. They're not trying to microanalyze. When you make $11 million a year, you have every right in the world to analyze anything that's going on that football field.
Well, and now all of a sudden the week 1 win, as impressive as it was, and maybe still to some, but at the time over Clemson and winning that game 17-10, you see what happens to Clemson and Atlanta on Saturday. The lackluster, if you want to call it that, output that you had against Louisiana Tech. But looking at the rest of their schedule, and I'm not including South Carolina on this, but in my mind, you've got 6 teams right now that have better offenses than yours. So unless your defense and Blake Baker are going to bring it every single week in the SEC, you're going to have a hard time matching score for score with these teams. I named Alabama, but throw Oklahoma in at the end of this. You think Ole Miss is going to be easy and going to Oxford and playing, whether it's Trinidad or whether it's Austin Simmons, whoever's suiting up? You don't think they're going to be ready for a little revenge after what happened in Baton Rouge last season? I think they will. I think LSU has problems on the offensive side of the ball right now. And then Brian Kelly knows it, and I think that is what was coming out in his response to that reporter.
How beautiful would the irony be if LSU goes, let's say, 9-3 and they miss the playoff again, but this time it's because they have a championship caliber defense and their offense is what lets them down.
Something else. But yeah, his post-game antics. And good for Michael Cobble from the TV station. Legitimate questions. Sorry you don't like that. Does everyone need to submit the questions, Brian, to make sure you're okay with them so you don't hurt anybody's feelings?
I like you had the follow-ups ready to go. All right, you don't like that one? Why are we not doing well on 3rd down? Oh, you didn't like that one? Why are you not running the ball well?
He was prepared.
Absolutely.
Good TV reporter. That's what you should do. So, yeah. So we'll see how LSU handles this moving forward, because Garrett Nussmeier was supposed to be the guy that was going to be, who was it? Was it Jordan Rodgers that even doubled down on SEC Nation? Jordan Rodgers this weekend said that he still expects Nussmeier to be holding up the Heisman Trophy when the season ends. Better get busy.
It's been a rough 3 weeks for the upper tier quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference, at least what we thought was the upper tier.
I mean, when you look at the bottom 3 teams in this conference, and keep in mind, they've played some patsies on the schedule. There's been at least one patsy, or for Texas, there's been 2. But when you have Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian's, all gas, no brakes offense, is 14th in the conference, and then Nussmeier and Brian Kelly, they're supposed to be going towards a national championship, which they still may win the national championship. But Nussmeier is supposed to be one of the guys that's a favorite for the Heisman Trophy. They're 15th in the league. And then Lenora Sellers, the other Heisman Trophy candidate, now he's hurt Don't know when he's going to come back. They're a 14-point underdog this week at Mizzou. There's your bottom three in this conference when it comes to offense. And three guys that was supposed to be leading the conference potentially for a run at the Heisman Trophy.
It's been such a wild start to the season. It's great.
By the way, if you miss Garrett Nussmeier's total stats through 3 games, he's thrown 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
There you go. That is Heisman worthy right there.
You want to compare that to overall last year, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
Okay. Just a
So
slow
he's
start.
right now on pace to throw 12 touchdowns this season.
Yep.
And we're not talking about Army or Navy.
And how much do you think LSU paid for him to come back?
Ooh, I'd say at least 3.
It's just really slow. I've watched Garrett Nussmeier plays. I don't know why. It's just like, golly, he might drown in a car wash. He ran through it.
Are you seeing cracks in your foundation or your doors and windows sticking? These are just minor problems, but they could get larger if you don't call APS, Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. They can fix your foundation with the clean poly-level system. For foundation issues, wet basements, or sinking concrete, do yourself a favor, call APS today, 205-951-9717, or just simply go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
It is Reaction Monday. We'll get your reaction. Those of you on hold wanting to chime in, also on the Jocks text line, 3-man front on this Monday, right here on your home for college football and more, Jocks. 10:53 man front on this Monday. Nathan King from the Plains of Auburn recapping the win over South Alabama, but more importantly, looking ahead to Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, a 6.5-point favorite as of this morning, according to betonline.ag. 800-239-WJOX. Your reaction to the weekend gets started now with Jason. Jason, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Why don't y'all hold Brian Kelly down and rub him down with some corn dogs, get him dirty, get a little bit of that north out of him, make him fit in down there. He'll figure out how to answer questions in the SEC. Keon Sabb and Deontay Lawson, both on Alabama's defense, need a little psychology. They are not playing up to their capabilities. Do you think that they are still a little weary in the brain about getting it there, or you think they're still a little dinged up from their prior injuries?
In my opinion on Lawson, it just seems like he's trying to work himself back into that full speed. That's not an excuse. That's just me watching. Now Sabb, I can't tell you.
He was loafing.
Well,
Sabb was loafing. Is he sad because Bray Hubbard's good?
I don't know. Maybe that should motivate him.
Maybe they play rock, paper, scissors before every game. Hey, I'm going to take this game off.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But, I mean, I love the guy, and he was so great. We were so excited about him. But, I mean, he needs to compete. He is, I mean, I've rewound it and watched it many times, and he's just kind of tiptoeing around out there. He needs to get in there and lay some wood like Hubbard does and make us unbeatable on the back end, in my opinion. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say one crazy stat about Keon Sabb, because I agree, like, he has not shown up the way that you would expect for him to, but before Wisconsin, he was the only player on that defense that had a sack. The only player. Not saying that's an excuse for anything, but it's just interesting.
Maybe it took a lot out of him, Conrad.
Maybe he put a lot of effort into that one play.
Let's go to Poe. Hey, Poe.
Man, hey, good morning, all of y'all.
Good morning.
Everybody good?
Everybody's good, Poe. How about you?
Good. Look, man, and it was good to see y'all. It was good to meet you guys Tuesday, man. I really
you as well.
enjoyed meeting
Yeah,
y'all.
come back anytime if you get a chance.
We're there tomorrow.
Oh yeah. So my take on this, man, Alabama. I ain't gonna talk about it, Conrad, because I already knew what Alabama was gonna do to Wisconsin. That was a given. So I ain't even gonna talk about Alabama and Wisconsin because I already knew what was gonna happen. That Tennessee and Georgia game before the field goal, y'all, I knew he was going to miss it because I told my fan, I said, when I was sitting there watching that game, I said he's going to miss it because I done seen, how many times I done seen teams where they try to settle for the field goal, and you put this young man in a position, normally, and Conrad, you done heard me talk on the early morning show with you, I love field goal kickers, man. I think they are the most important young men on that team because those 3 points are deserving and they're important. But that young man, this one time I wasn't even mad at him, man, because that was a pressure field goal, dude. It was pressure, and I knew he was gonna miss it, man. Like it was crazy. You know, they all played a good game. It was down to the wire. Now for Brian Kelly, LSU, Conrad, you know when I called him on the show, your show, I'm a dude about coaches. I ain't no fan of Brian Kelly. And what he said to that guy, that wasn't the dumbest question dude's supposed to answer because you got to think. He's concerned about that because and Vandy is doing good. I love Vandy 3-0. Well, his concern is, say, a team like Vandy, you know what I'm saying, is going to play them. So if y'all playing like this and Clark Lee, they watching good film, they could beat LSU. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's true about Garrett Nussmeier or something like that, man. But as far as it go, I don't think it was a stupid question. I'm just not a fan of Brian Kelly, man.
Well, if you're Brian Kelly, are you not expecting that answer or that question, Poe? Like, you would think you'd expect that.
Yes, I'm expecting that question because, look, and like y'all will say with you guys, if I'm asking the question, hey, man, you can't blow up at these guys. These guys got a job just like you got a job. That's that guy's job is to ask you questions like that. Like y'all say, he's getting paid money to where he need to be like, well, if it's something that you don't want to say, think about it, hold your composure. But to blow up at that man, that's that guy's job.
Poe, thank you very much. I think maybe even more than anything, it was the order in which the question was asked, and to lead it off, Brian Kelly took exception to that. Maybe he knew that was going to be a question, and maybe he knows he's got problems. Hour number 2 on the way.